University. Sadly, he started using marijuana when he was 14 years old and became psychotic. He died 5 years after he first started using marijuana.
Colorado mom Laura Stack describing what happened to her son after her home state legalized marijuana. A new study finding that young people using the drug now at an all-time high. This is particularly troubling because new research recently published suggests heavy use of marijuana is linked to a higher risk of schizophrenia, especially in young men. Randy Bacchus died by suicide in 2021. His parents say his years of heavy marijuana use triggered a mental breakdown. And his mother, Heather Bacchus, joins us now. First of all, Heather, our prayers are with you for this tragic loss. No parent should ever have to bury a child. But this study that was published to the NIH really drives home what a lot of people truly believe, and that is that heavy marijuana use can lead to psychosis and schizophrenia. In fact, the NIH study found that 30% of cases of schizophrenia among 18 to 30-year-olds is attributable to marijuana use. What was the situation with your son, Randy?
Our son Randy started using marijuana when he was 15. That's when we first knew he was using. And he quickly had a cannabis use disorder within about a year. We did we sent him to wilderness therapy, and then he moved to Colorado, and he had bouts where he wouldn't use, but then once he moved to Colorado, he used regularly. He believed that it was helping him, assisting him with anxiety and depression, which he didn't ever have until he started using marijuana. And then when he turned 21, his use really increased, and he had episodes of paranoia and delusions, and then had a full psychotic break in March prior to taking his life in July.
So what were those psychotic episodes like? What would happen to you?
You know, unfortunately, it was. He knew that he would manage and function fairly well in life, but he was paranoid. He thought his roommates were out to get him. He thought that people at work were out to get him. He would quit a job quickly. He accused one of his employers of being in the mob. When he had a full-blown attack in March of 2021, he called us and said the mob was coming after him, that they were coming after us, and he just was out of sorts. When he went to Denver Health, we had a friend who was there with him, and he was hearing music. He would say, "Do you hear the music?" And the gal that was there with him said, "No, there is no music." I mean, so he obviously was hearing things that didn't exist.
Was there ever
and he believed that.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, finish.
Well, I was going to say he believed that people were tracking his phone and his computer as well.
Were there ever any indications earlier in his life that maybe there was some sort of latent mental disorder that was there that was triggered by the pot, or did this just come out of nowhere?
No. Randy had ADHD, and we had him psychologically assessed 4 times between the ages of, say, 6 to 17. And it was always just that he had ADHD, was mildly dyslexic. He had a high verbal acuity and written acuity. He had great memorization skills. So, no, there was no indication of anything.
Wow. It looked like on July 17, 2021, that you and your husband might have a reason to hope, because he sent you 2 text messages back to back. And I know this is tough for you to hear again, but I think it's very important for folks at home to hear as well. He sent you a text at 1:26 in the morning in which he said, "I'm quitting weed for good and want to surround myself with healthy and happy people. This has been too much for me and for you guys." 45 minutes later at 2:09, he sent you another text saying, "I love you and I'm sorry for everything. I love Dad and the same to him. I wish I would have been a better person." That was his goodbye note. Yeah. He took his own life not long after that. As pot is legalized in so many states across this nation, and it's pretty much held up by supporters as, "Oh, this is a benign drug," what do you say?
I would say it is not benign. It's a different drug than it used to be. The potencies are much greater. It is extremely dangerous for the developing brain. There's scientific facts that prove that, scientific studies. Our son, unfortunately, is not alone. He's one of many who are suffering psychosis. Every week, I would say 2 to 3 parents reach out to me telling me that their child is suffering either addiction or psychosis. So it is not benign. It's unsafe, especially for that developing brain.
And as we heard at the beginning of this, Heather, from Laura Stack, you are not alone. In fact, you and a group of moms are trying to raise awareness about the dangers of marijuana among a subset of individuals who use it heavily. What is your message to the parents of children who may be in the same boat as your son was?
My message would be that, it's a very lonely place to be, but there are resources out there. There's Johnny's Ambassadors, which gave me a ton of knowledge and information that I wish I would have had when our son was going through his struggles. And we've started our own organization called Be Extraordinary, Be You, in honor of our son as well. It's to educate yourselves. There are plenty of scientific studies out there. Parents need to know, teachers, doctors. Doctors need to treat this as another thing they produce at pediatric visits to protect your child's brain. We just need to educate ourselves that today's pot is much different than it used to be.
Maybe there are some children out there who can be saved as a result of this. Again, our prayers are with you and your family for your loss, but we thank you for coming on. Appreciate it.
Thank you, John. I appreciate the time.
Thank you. Sarah?
Our best to her and her family. Meanwhile, we are getting an update from Fairfax City Police on the update with Rep. Connolly's office with those two staffers that were attacked.